What's up, guys? Hi, and welcome to Uncle Scott's Kitchen. Technically, Uncle Scott's back deck. Today, we are going to take a look at this guy. This is a Garcima 20-inch paella pan. Made in Spain. This one is carbon steel. Got the traditional red handles on it. And it comes as part of this. This is a Garcima Tabarca Paella Burner with stand. So you get everything in one kit. I like that. I'm not sure exactly what Tabarca means. There's different names for different sizes and configurations for these stands. Some have wheels, some have storage, different sizes, on and on. This one has a dual ring burner, which I'm hoping is going to allow us to have two different heat zones, separate controls for each burner. And what I like is that it is matched up to go with this pan. So everything is configured together and everything should work just fine. Now I've got a hose, which I bought separately. This is not included, and that is to hook the burner up to a standard propane tank. Just a little bit of assembly here on the stand. Now my wife buys lots of shelves at IKEA, which I have to put together, so I expect this to be a piece of cake, or a plate of paella, as it were. One other tip, I've had to learn this the hard way: when you're assembling something on your deck, keep the screws and nuts and bolts in a safe place, lest they drop down and go through the cracks between the boards on your deck. No! Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Do as I say, not as I do, right? Let's see. And we're outside, so you can't really see the flame. That's on. For first use, I've washed the pan, carbon steel. And I'm just cooking up here for demonstration purposes today. It says to simmer water for 10 minutes along with some vinegar. We're going to simmer that for 10 minutes and then we should be ready to cook. So as luck would have it, I have picked the hottest day of the year so far, 105 degrees out here, to make my paella. So I got the burner set up, the pan is ready to go. I'm going to make some traditional Valencian paella. Now I am in Utah, and some ingredients that are used in traditional Spanish paellas we just do not have here. So let me show you what I've got, and I'll do my best to be as true to the traditional Valencian paellas as I can be here in Utah. One thing that throws people in America is that in the Valencian recipe, traditionally, they use rabbit. We just can't go to the store and buy rabbit in the United States. It just does not exist. So what I'm going to do, in addition to my chicken, bone-in skin-on chicken thighs, is use some raw pork sausage. This has a little bit of a mesquite smoked flavor. Not going to use chorizo sausage. I know that's always a point of contention, so no chorizo, but I am using a little bit of pork. I've got a lot of this stuff I ordered from Spain. So this is Spanish olive oil, Spanish paprika, and this is going to go into some stock I have simmering inside, getting my stock ready. I've got Spanish bomba rice. We've got some chopped garlic, salt, pepper, the garrafón beans and the barroquetas I can't find here. I've got some canned butter beans, so some bigger white beans. This tomato and this onion have been through a cheese grater, a grater. Spanish paprika, this came in from Spain, so this is some sweet smoked paprika, and this is some diced up red bell pepper. Also got some green beans. We cannot get the flat runner green beans here, so those are as close as I can find. So let's start doing a little cooking here. So it's important to never heat the pan dry. And I'm just getting these gloves because I'm going to handle raw meat here in just a second. So I got my olive oil. Pan on. Eeh. And I got about a quarter cup of olive oil in the pan. Actually, I'm going to turn the outside burner off And we're going to fry in the middle of the pan. Do a test thigh. I'm going to wait till I flip these to add the sausage. I feel a little bit bad cooking this out here because my neighbor has backyard chickens. Let's hope it was no one they knew. You say you don't want these too brown. You just want a little color on there, and these are actually going to simmer when we put the stock in for just a little while as well. All right, let's get our sausage in. Okay, so I've had the stock along with some saffron steeping. I got that warmed up. I forgot to mention the rosemary, so I got rosemary as well. And I'm not trying to get this chicken too terribly dark brown here because I don't want a lot of burn bits on the bottom of this pan. I don't want to scorch anything. So we're getting a little bit of browning here. And this is going to be a little bit more golden rather than dark brown. Looking okay. I'm going to go ahead and add the peppers. One thing I like about having the dual burners is right now I don't have the outer burner ring on, so I can move this chicken over. It will still stay warm without searing and frying up there. So I'm going to cook up the peppers in the middle here. Give these a couple minutes, then the onion, then the garlic, then the tomatoes, and then we'll deglaze everything, and then we'll put in the hot stock. More salt. I'm going to add my onions. Now I'm going to light that outer burner. Now I'm going to go with the garlic. And only about 30 seconds on this. I'm going to add the paprika. Now I want to add the tomatoes, and I think this is going to do a pretty good job of deglazing anything that needs to be deglazed as well. Now what I want to do is make sure the paprika's in there. I'm going to add the stock with the saffron. It's very hot. Okay, just a couple of notes on the burner here. I've got both the inner and the outer rings going now. I'm getting nice sizzling and bubbling edge to edge. That is a big difference with a burner like this that is matched up with the pan, as opposed to using a big pan on a stovetop burner and needing to move that thing around all the time. So this is significantly easier. I really do like that. Okay, now lots of times you'll see people add the bomba rice to the pan before they add the liquid. I'm kind of doing the reverse here. You can do it either way. The reason I'm going in reverse order is that I'm using some homemade veggie stock, and what I want to do is allow the chicken with those chicken bones, I want that to simmer in there for a little while. One, to make sure the chicken's cooked, of course, but also hopefully essentially create a little bit of chicken stock as I go here. The bomba rice uses a lot more water than you might be used to with, say, a long grain rice. I've tried it at 2.5 liquid to 1 rice before, and that does not work very well. The rice is too dry, it doesn't get done correctly. Up around 3 to 1 works pretty well. Here in Utah, we are the second most arid state. We've got a wide pan here. There's a lot of evaporation. I go a little bit over 3 to 1. You're just gonna have to adjust that depending on where you live and the humidity of rice. And that's been going a good 10 minutes or so now. I can see that the liquid level has dropped. I'm gonna go ahead and add my rice. And I'm also gonna go ahead and add the green beans because they're fresh, raw green beans. I'll add those as well. And here it's relatively important to get everything as even as possible so that you don't have thick rice in one part of the pan and thin in another. Make sure your liquid level is relatively even. I'm gonna go ahead and put my green beans in. I'm gonna wait to add the lima beans. Adding my rosemary now. I like a lot of rosemary flavor, so some people might want to add it later. And what we want to do is make sure no rice is sticking up above the liquid. Now what you see a lot of people do be to give the pan a good shake. Kind of evens things out and keeps everything, gets that rice distributed evenly. And now we're not going to touch it, no more stirring. Okay, so the rice is in. I've given the pan a shake. I don't have any rice grains sticking up. Actually, I see one right there. Almost no rice grains sticking up. And they say to increase the heat a little bit here. And we're gonna really boil this for the first 10 minutes. Then we're gonna turn it down for 6 or 7, start checking it, and then up around that 18-minute mark or so, depending on how the rice is done, then we'll crank the heat up and try and make that soak-a-rot. Okay, so a lot of the liquid has evaporated and been absorbed. You can see the rice starting to pop through the top of the surface of the liquid here. Once it gets a little bit more in here, I'm gonna turn that down and let it finish cooking. I'm gonna go ahead and add my lima beans. These are pre-cooked, so they don't really need to cook very much in here. I do want them to be warmed up though. Okay, so now we are getting close. Most of the liquid has been absorbed. And I notice over here on this side, the rice is starting to pull away just a little bit. We are still got just a little liquid over here. I'll wait for that to evaporate away. And we'll make some soak-a-rot, hopefully. And there we go. About 90 seconds. Okay, hopefully we are done. I'm going to turn everything off and cover it. Let it rest for 5 minutes. Let's see what it looks like. Pretty neat looking.
That looks delicious, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Let's see, I just want to see if we got any sauerkraut here.
Pretty big.
There's a little on there. All right, let's remember the, I got a little bit on there.
Chicken has bones.
Chicken has bones. Okay, the paella, I think, was very well received. My wife had her parents over. The little guy is running around playing. It's very nice activity making a paella, something to do on the deck on a Sunday. How'd you like that paella?
Good.
Yeah?
Hello.
No play. We tore through this thing, absolutely delicious. My paella was not perfect. Need to work on my sauerkraut a little bit more as usual. If you have paella tips, definitely send them to me. I am learning everything I can about paella. As far as the Garcima Burner and Pan set, I really like it. I like the fact that it's all matched up. So the pan and the burner, they're matched up, they're the correct size, they work well together. I think for my first time using it, it went really well. It took me a minute to get the regulator figured out, but once I did that, everything fired up and it worked really well. I like having the dual burner controls. I like being able to get a hotter zone in the middle and do some hotter cooking there and then move everything out to the side and put new ingredients there in the middle. So you can get kind of two zones going, and then once the liquid goes in and you're cooking the rice, you can kind of even everything out. So I really do like that. It worked well, and I give the Garcima Tabarca Paella Burner and Pan set a thumbs up. My paella, probably somewhere in the 3/4 range, but it's always getting better. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Kitchen. What are you doing?